Hello, welcome to this 12-minute introduction on the ISO 9001:2015 and the ISO 9001:2026 updates. This video is created for anyone interested in learning about the ISO 9001 standard. It is based on the ISO 9001:2015 edition. It is recommended to purchase the official standard, whether you plan to certify your company or simply want to deepen your understanding of quality management, as it serves as an excellent reference in case of any doubts. In this session, we will cover the following topics: an introduction to ISO 9001, the key requirements of the standard and where to find them, gap assessment, what to focus on when introducing the standard in your organization or ensuring compliance with the updated versions, proposed changes in the ISO 9001:2026 edition, and the implementation timeline for the 2026 edition. ISO 9001:2015 is the internationally recognized standard for quality management systems, published by the International Organization for Standardization, ISO. It provides a framework and sets of principles that help organizations consistently deliver products and services that meet customer and legal requirements, while continuously striving to enhance customer satisfaction through ongoing improvement. Since its first edition in 1987, ISO 9001 has undergone several updates to reflect the evolving needs of organizations and global trends. The standard applies to organizations of all types and sizes, promoting process efficiency, operational consistency, and evidence-based decision-making. By implementing ISO 9001, a company can strengthen stakeholder trust, particularly with customers, by improving internal performance and fostering a culture of continual improvement and customer focus. The overall framework for continual improvement in the standard is built around the PDCA cycle: plan, do, check, and act. In the plan phase, management sets objectives and plans activities for the upcoming period to do improvements. During the do phase, the planned improvement activities are carried out. The check phase involves evaluating performance to determine whether the actions taken and activities done achieved the desired outcome. Finally, in the act phase, the organization takes corrective actions based on the results, identifying what worked well and what needs to be improved for the next cycle. The cycle is then repeated again for the next period, supporting continual improvements. The structure of the ISO 9001 standard begins with a description of the scope, the normative references, and a list of terms and definitions used throughout the document in the first 3 clauses. It then includes 7 main clauses, each covering a key aspect of the quality management system. These 7 main clauses are: context of the organization, Clause 4, leadership, Clause 5, planning, Clause 6, support, Clause 7, operation, Clause 8, performance evaluation, Clause 9, and improvement, Clause 10. Starting with Clause 4, context of the organization. This section focuses on understanding the internal and external factors that can affect the company and its quality management system. As part of this process, organizations must identify their interested parties and understand their needs and expectations. These typically include customers, regulators or authorities, and suppliers, but the list of stakeholders often extends much further. The context also involves defining the scope of the quality management system by determining what is most relevant to the specific organization, as well as establishing and maintaining the processes necessary for the effective operation of the system. Next is Clause 5, leadership. In a quality management system, the leadership of top management is critical. They must demonstrate commitment to the system and actively support its implementation and continual improvement. This includes developing and communicating a quality policy that aligns with the company's strategic direction, and assigning clear roles, responsibilities, and authorities related to the quality management system. The quality policy can be integrated with policies required by other standards, such as ISO 14001 for environmental management or ISO 45001 for occupational health and safety. Next is Clause 6, Planning. This clause focuses on identifying and addressing risks and opportunities that could affect the quality management system and the organization. It also involves setting quality objectives that align with the organization's goals. Additionally, it requires planning for changes in a controlled manner to maintain the integrity of the system. Next is Clause 7, Support. This clause focuses on providing the necessary resources, including competent personnel, infrastructure, and a suitable work environment. It emphasizes ensuring competence, fostering awareness, and promoting effective communication across the organization. It also covers the management of documented information, including both documents and records, to support the effective operation of the quality management system. Next is Clause 8, Operation, which focuses on planning and controlling processes to meet requirements for products and services. It addresses managing customer requirements, design and development, purchasing, and the provision of products or services. This clause also includes controlling non-conforming outputs to prevent their unintended use or delivery. Next is Clause 9, Performance Evaluation, which covers monitoring, measuring, analyzing, and evaluating the quality management system. It includes requirements for internal audits to assess the system's conformity and effectiveness. Additionally, it requires management reviews to ensure that the system remains suitable, adequate, and effective. The final clause is Clause 10, Improvement, which focuses on identifying and acting on opportunities for continual improvement. It covers managing nonconformities and taking corrective actions to eliminate their root causes. The clause also emphasizes enhancing the effectiveness of the quality management system over time through learning and innovation. When reading the standard for the first time, it may seem complex and challenging to understand. However, as you become more familiar with ISO standards in general, it becomes easier, since they are structured consistently, starting with basic information, followed by clauses detailing the specific requirements that must be met. When planning to implement a new ISO standard, such as ISO 9001 in your organization, or to adopt the upcoming 2026 revision, the first step is to obtain a copy of the standard. Once you have it, the next step is to perform a gap assessment to identify areas where your current system may need adjustments to comply with the requirements. A gap assessment can be conducted in various ways, but often the simplest approach is the most effective. To perform a gap assessment, review the standard and determine its impact on your organization, identifying where the relevant documents, records, or other information are stored. Since the standard is designed to be implemented by both small and large organizations, the documentation requirements are relatively limited initially, but tend to increase as the organization grows. To begin the basic gap assessment, we will use a simple Excel sheet with 4 columns: 1. Headline, 2. Section, Clause, 3. Terms and requirements, and 4. Covered by policy and procedure, providing the reference documents. Since the goal is to review all parts of the standard, start by filling in the first clause, headline, understanding the organization and its context, section, clause, 4.1. Terms and requirements. The organization shall determine external and internal issues that are relevant to its purpose and its strategic direction, that affect its ability to achieve the intended results of its quality management system. The organization shall monitor and review information about these external and internal issues. Covered by policy, procedure, reference documents indicate whether these terms and requirements are addressed in the organization you are reviewing. Often, internal and external issues are covered in the company's strategic documents, as addressing these issues, or implementing solutions, enables the organization to grow or improve profitability. The gap assessment then moves on to Clause 4.2, understanding the needs and expectations of interested parties. To address this clause, the organization must first identify its interested parties and the requirements of those. The assessment continues through the remaining clauses in the standard, ultimately reaching Clause 10, Improvement, which concludes the review. This gap assessment will in the end consist of around 90 rows if including all sub-clauses. Although this gap assessment is primarily used to identify gaps in the company's system when introducing a new standard or updating to a new revision of the standard, the list is also extremely useful when conducting both internal and external audits. It can at the same time serve as a helpful tool to explain to colleagues what is required and covered by the standard. The next revision of the ISO 9001 standard is scheduled for publication in 2026. ISO has set the target date for September 2026, although this timeline may be subject to change. Since the final revision has not yet been published, changes may still occur following the stakeholder consultation period for the draft version. Even so, the main changes outlined in the ISO 9001-2026 draft include: in clause 4.1 context of the organization, climate change amendments introduced in 2024 are now fully integrated into the standard. Updates to the section on leadership and commitment to further promote quality culture and ethical behavior. This includes new guidance on how these principles should be demonstrated. Clause 6. Risk and opportunity management will be reorganized with clearer subclauses and accompanied by expanded guidance. All clauses have undergone some amendments, including additional notes to better clarify the current requirements. Annex A has also been expanded to provide more detailed guidance, closely aligned with the clauses in the standard. Why does ISO 9001-2026 matters? It matters because it realigns the organization's quality management system with its strategic goals. It incorporates modern values such as ethical practices and a strong quality culture. And it enhances stakeholder engagement and reinforces top management accountability. Thank you for watching. Be sure to obtain a copy of the ISO standard, review it, and perform a gap assessment in your organization. Have a great day.